Hello, I'm Craig Constantine.
Hi, I'm Brian Howard.
Hi, Brian. Thanks for jumping in. Sometimes I have to hound people, but you're one of my favorite guests. You're the kind of person who, when I say, "Hey, would you?" You're like, "Absolutely, I'm on that." So it's just fun to be continuously exposed to people who are over the top, passionate, good way about what can I do to, bring my message to the world. So thanks for taking the time to talk with me today.
Craig, we've
I
known or met each other 25 months
Yes,
ago when I started
yes.
podcasting with Seth Godin's Akimbo group. And I've been a fan of yours since day one.
Oh, thank you. You're too nice. Thank you. So I took, I always pause because it's now the name changed. It's now called the Podcasting Fellowship. It used to be called the Podcasting Fellowship. Now it's called Podcasting Workshop. They changed the name.
Oh,
So
is that
you and I
right?
were in, yeah, they don't call it TPF anymore. Now
Oh,
it's POD. So they're like in pod 9. So
oh,
you and I were in TPF3, and
yeah.
I went in. Do people need the story? But I went in. I already had a podcast, and I was like, "Wait, you can take courses?" So like, I ran in, and there were like hundreds of people, yourself included,
Yeah.
um, and I was just like, "This is great!" And I got a chance to like rip my show apart and redo all kinds of things, and had so much fun. That I've been back for everyone since as a remarkable to help out. But anyway, I
Cool.
digress. In these little pre-calls, the guests don't hear, like, the people listening have heard me say this a million times. We do a little conversation beforehand, and I basically say podcasting, and then we see what comes out. And you actually had the experience of basically suggesting to your son, "I think you should take this course," and you signed him up for TPF2, and he like kind of went meh and didn't do anything with it. And then you came back for TPF3, and I when I said podcasting, you immediately mentioned Akimbo, which is the parent company that runs the course. You mentioned Akimbo, and you started to tell me about. I'm going to say, I think you actually used the word, the magic of the community. And I'm sitting here blabbering on about how much I love finding passionate people to share, which is also me talking about community. So, do you remember, like, not, it's 2 years, right? But do you remember when you were looking at the podcast fellowship course? Did you realize that it was going to be a community of people, or were you just seeing this looks like a good place to learn how? You see
I
what
was,
I'm asking?
yeah, when I was just, no, I knew nothing about the community. And it was actually, and it was just a good place to learn the skill of like, what is podcasting and like, how does one do this? So that's when I encouraged my son to start a podcast. And, because I thought it was exciting and cool. And then I signed him up for it. And again, he did nothing with it. And then I thought, okay, I'm going to get that skill. And I signed up.
Did you? So I'm trying not to put words in your mouth, because I've seen a lot of people take the particular course, and I noticed that there's like a vacuum that's created. So you show up, and well, first when you show up, there's nothing to do, and you're like, you're milling around in the hallway, and then ta-da, the first lesson comes out, and you're like, okay, I read it, and and but now what? Like, I feel like I should push a button or pull a lever. There's something I should do, and then it kind of just sits there, and then you're like, well, I guess I just push this button and type in and it like sucks you in. Like when you start doing the thing, which you basically start on day one,
Mm-hmm.
it like pulls you in. And I'm wondering, is did you realize that you needed to be pulled forward, or did you have like energy and you didn't know which direction to go with it?
Yeah, I would say that I had like a thought or a wish or a hope to do something with it. And I was sort of paying attention from day one and like committing to, maybe do the exercises. And then it was, I think, was it a 5 week course? I just forget. Or
Yeah,
was it
it's
2 months?
7 week, 5 lessons a weekday for 7 weeks. It's
Yeah.
35 lessons.
So I was sort of mostly doing everything, and then but by the end of the course, I hadn't quite launched the show, and but then I kind of got invited by, but I really kept in contact with like the magic people, and I think of all of
Hmm.
them and smile and the moment I think of those people, and you being one of them. That offered me feedback along the way, and then I got carried on, and I was at that real tipping point of, am I doing this or am I not? And it
Mm.
was the people that I kept doing it.
Hmm. Did you find, say, Dunbar's number, like 120 or 100 some, my monkey brain can only hold 100 monkey brain, connections. How big would you say, you don't have to name names, but you can. How big would you say was the core group of people that you really felt like, okay, if those people hadn't been there, if I'd been missing one of those or two of those, I wouldn't have made it. And what I'm wondering is, if somebody is listening and they don't have, like this isn't an ad for Akimbo, I don't get any kickbacks. But if
Yeah.
they don't have a cohort, they don't have their social group, like how many people do you really feel like you needed to have enough, like, all right, there's energy, there's synergy happening here? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, I do absolutely. It was probably like for me, it was like four people, but then the other maybe seven people, or maybe just the other four people, like was
Yeah,
pretty
four
key
plus.
as well. Yeah, like the
Mm,
four, like there was David and Maria and
mm,
Diane, and those are the three keys for me that like I just really paid attention to everything they did. And then there was a lesser extent at the time you and Suzanne Mueller, and I think a few other people that like were really I was watching and thinking, yeah, let's push them along, and they pushed me, and yeah.
yeah, it's really neat to see. On one hand, the coaches and the remarkables who were helping them, were trying. On one hand, we're like, yeah, I know what the answer is. Like, I want to tell you, just do this. But to create the space for the students and for, it's not even really students, it's everybody who's just there in the room, create the space for them to discover things on their own. Do you think that was there something that surprised you in the experience of taking the course that was, I'm going to say, like, this surprised me. And if I hadn't seen that, it might have been, that might have been the tipping point. Like, having seen that was enough to really make me believe I could do this.
Yeah, I don't know if I no, like for me it wasn't a surprise. It was like I knew the work had to be done, but I guess what was surprising is the warmth that I felt for the group and like the process. I guess there was a surprise in that. Like I know that it's a skill that that, well, I can learn. If I have the discipline, I can do it. And I guess I was thinking the surprise came out a little bit that, well, I can do this as a hobby, and it doesn't have to be money making thing. And I have this community. Yeah, there was surprises that it's a hobby, and like the doing it for fun out of curiousness and interest, and then the support of the group. I guess it was surprising that it was really the support of the group is why I continue to podcast today.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So, tell me the name of your show.
I have two shows now.
Even better. Tell me both of their names.
So the show that I like, being, I guess, type A type personality, I'm a real estate agent. I have to like be in type A. I have to sort of monetize. I can't do anything that's not worth like something, or I suppose we're all a bit like that. But my real estate show, I live in Calgary, Alberta, and my real estate show is called Calgary Living, Real Estate and Lifestyle. And so why real estate and lifestyle? Well, I guess, it's an interest of mine, lifestyle, actually, of course. And this city is a great place. And, but I could have podcasted on, I don't know, maybe just, the mountains, or a particular mountain, or a national park or something. But that was the first show, to think that maybe I will get business from it. And I have. So that's good news. But the second show is very much about capitalizing on my on my career, I guess. But it's really directed to capitalize on my career. But it's really a sense of curiousness and interest in people. The second show is called Why I Joined EXP Realty.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Do you remember, if this has happened? It probably has. Do you remember the first time somebody walked up to you and went, "Oh, you're the guy from the podcast with the," or like they recognize the sound of your voice? Do you remember the first time you get
Yeah,
surprised by a listener?
that hasn't happened a lot, to be honest. But what has happened a lot is, oh, I like your show, or
Hmm.
and I'm still surprised. You listen, I shouldn't say that, but yeah, no, it's yeah, I do remember those kind of interactions for sure.
It breaks the
And I
it
still,
breaks
I still do, and I'm like
it
warmed
surprises
every
you every
time.
time. Yep. It breaks my imposter bubble every time somebody walks up to me, and like, it doesn't happen every day, but I tend to travel and I'll be at a large, like a parkour event or something, and somebody will walk up to me and say, "Hey, I really enjoyed episode blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, wow, okay. I mean, because in my mind, I'm doing the math. I'm going, if one person says that was really cool, how many people are out there who, like, there's got to be at least 10 for every one that sends me a DM or something.
Yeah.
So I always think it's really great, first of all, to get feedback. But I also try to encourage people to, like, if you get one bit of good feedback, there's a whole lot that you haven't heard from. Like, one of my shows has something like 40,000 downloads. It's hard to even count anymore. Long story. And I
Awesome.
think I have 7 Apple reviews. Like,
That's
it's just like,
incredible.
but it's like, my brain goes, 7? Really? There's only 7? And then I'm like, wait, 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 wait. How many, like, all right, that's somebody who really, like, that person really loved it. So how many people are there who go, well, that's really cool. Thanks. Or what I'm really hoping is that they get distracted midway, like they encounter an idea that's so fun or so exciting that they, like, slap their headphones off and run out and go, try whatever, or talk to somebody else.
Yeah.
That, I think, is the power of like being able to spread ideas.
What are your
Yeah.
podcasts called right now?
I keep joking we need a Podcasters Anonymous, but I don't mean to, like, diminish the complexity of addiction. But hi, I'm Craig. I have a podcast. I have 3 of them at the moment. I have the main one, which is called Movers Mindset, which
Oh, I know that.
everybody
Yeah.
listening will be like, "Oh God, shut up about Movers Mindset." And in that one, I talk with movement enthusiasts to find out who they are, what they do, and why they do it. I have one scheduled for tomorrow. I try to record in person. We're up to 103 out. 104 is being edited. And that one is super fun. I've been, like, various countries recording. And that one I'm starting to do short form now, where I'm trying to record over the internet. I don't like recording, like, it's a different kind of thing. So I'm kind of getting used to, like, oh, I want to hit stop and go get a cup of coffee, Brian, and you can't do that with the virtual ones.
Yeah.
So Movers Mindset is this big, giant juggernaut. We've been transcribing all the stuff for over 1 million words of transcripts that are on their website. It's huge.
Wow.
And then the next project that got out of hand was called Little Box of Quotes. I'm a nut about collecting quotes. I have like 700-800 quotes that I collect, and it's ongoing. And it's a daily show, and it's 30 seconds, a minute of just me going, "Hello, Craig here today for my little box of quotes." And then I just read one of my quotes and I hit stop.
Really?
There's like, it's like 600 of those out. And then this show that we're doing now, this is turning into the Craig monologue, the podcaster community. This companion podcast is me literally just trying to rope other people who are passionate about podcasting into talking to me about podcasting. That's all I'm doing, is I just, I want to talk to people. And I love, like, Calgary is not that far. I could get to Calgary, but sometimes I'm talking to people and I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go to New Zealand just to have a 10-minute conversation with someone. So I love that, we can just pull this together and hit record and
Yeah.
work magic in 20 minutes, I think. So those are my 3 current ones.
So I want to. I hope it's okay.
No, flip it around.
I have a show. I'm interviewing the mayoral candidates for Calgary. We're having an election here on October 18th, and so for the a year, so 18 months or something since COVID started, everything's been by Zoom. Prior to that, I was doing in person. But I have a mayor candidate who wants to do an in-person meeting with me on Tuesday. I'm scared. I forget how. I mean, I'm not scared of the interaction, but like Zoom made it so easy for me.
Yeah.
So I have that mic 4, and I remember talking to you, which one would I get? And I haven't used it.
Yeah, I mean, like, the first thing I would say is remember to wear pants. That's always the first rule. The second rule is take your gear out and find somebody, either your son or whatever. Just, grab a random person who's gullible and say, we're going to go pretend we're doing this thing. And, just go out and do it and just try one and see what you get. And you'll be like, oh crap, I forgot batteries, or, or whatever. Iron the kinks out of it. And then the third thing is, fake it. Like, when things go wrong, you're like, oh, that happens sometimes. Here's how we, just like act like you know what you're doing, because you do know what you're doing. So
sure.
Yeah, I think that's I mean, in terms of the actual logistics of COVID and stuff, like I use these mics, not this specific one, but I use these mics in person, and I have clean, like fresh pop filters, so like I open a Ziploc bag and the guest, like, picks their filter out, because like you got to sit within a couple inches of the thing
Right.
for an hour. So I give them like a clean pop filter. Um, it's because I've done several recordings during the pandemic where I've
Yeah.
gone into like Philadelphia, which was a COVID hotspot,
Yeah.
and we recorded with masks in addition to clean filters, and we were outside in a public park. So I think it's just a matter of like, well, why do you want to record in person? And as long as you have a clear answer to that, then the rest of it becomes just simple challenges. Like, okay, we did this. I was surprised. I've had people record with masks on, and it actually works pretty well. It turns out it's like the best pop filter in the world if you put the mask on their face. Like
Really?
when I put
Wow.
my hand in front of the mic, the volume goes down, but it
Yeah.
doesn't sound terribly different, right? So
No.
as long as I don't mess up my lip movement, we're going to really tight, but just how I literally have my hand in between me and the mic, and the mask would let far more sound through. And when I take my hand away, yes, it's like, oh yeah, when I pull my hand away, you hear the difference, but it really doesn't wreck everything to have a piece of cloth in front of the microphone.
Wow, that's really
So it's
cool.
just little things like, go try that with your son. Like, here, put this mask on, and then you can say to the guest, like, are you okay? And you can be 6, 8 feet apart. You don't have to sit directly in front of each other and try and spit on each other.
Mm.
You can actually sit side by side or on an angle, like whatever you have to do to be comfortable. I think it's way more important that people approach challenges and risks rationally. And if you're like, okay, we currently have like an outbreak here, and we're gonna, all right, let's not do the recording this week, let's all get our COVID test. That's the other
Yeah.
thing, like, make sure I would say, make sure you have a recent COVID test, and you're like, I don't have it, you don't have it, we're good to take our masks off for 20 minutes while we do this interview. Because the magic of sound, I talk about this all the time, but the magic of the sound comes through. There's no virtual recording that is as good as a live recording, because the timing, the timing is zero. Like you laugh and the thing, and it's like right together, and you're sharing the same space, the sunshine, the shade, the sounds, the planes, like all that ambiance helps co-create a shared experience, and you don't get that through Zoom.
That's
Um,
awesome. I
that's my
appreciate
diatribe.
that. And where should I do it? Do you ever do them outside? Your
Oh, that's a great question, Brian. So you can do them outside. I've done them in people's houses outside. Done them I did one in a noisy YMCA like main meeting hall, and it was loud. And so you can do them anywhere. The thing to just keep in mind is, like, if you're outside, they call field recordings. Shit's gonna happen, and when it does, you just kind of go, and we're back. So I was saying, like, you just like let it happen,
Yeah.
but you have to tell the guest. You have to tell the guest up front, hey, some kid's gonna come by and pick his nose, or like some loud car is gonna drag race. We're just gonna ignore that. We're just gonna pause. We're gonna
Yeah.
let that happen, and then we're gonna go back to work. And in editing, you just like snip, like 30 seconds, cut it right out.
Yeah.
So that crap happens, but most of the time crap doesn't happen, and you're
Right.
gonna have a whole bunch of good tape and a little bit you snip out, and that's my 2 cents.
Good.
You can hear it, put your, if you get a chance, go early, but you put your headphones on, turn your mic on. What do you hear? Oh, I didn't notice there was, a highway right behind me or whatever. So yeah, it's always an experience. I love the challenge. If it's not obvious, I love the fun part.
Tell me about the headphones you have on right now.
This turns into the Brian Interviews Craig show. I pulled my headphones off my ear and got a like, oh wow, this is a hot room. This is a set of AKG. I don't remember. I've had these for 20 years. K271. Great pair of broadcast, semi-closed, so mostly isolating. I only hear what's in the headphones.
Oh.
Really nice set of headphones I've had forever. These new replaceable earmuffs, and the cord is detachable. I love them. If you're listening, there is a K270 instead of a 271, which is almost identical. And I saw them on Amazon for like $70 a few weeks ago.
Mm.
Comes in a case and everything, and they're really good. The difference is they're what's called open back, meaning you can hear right through them. So those, I like these. I look like a dork, like when I'm in a park, who's the guy with the headphones? But it cuts the real world out.
Mm.
And then if I hear it, I know the mic is hearing it. Like, the screaming baby off to the side that you would hear because human
Right.
ears are awesome. The mic might not hear that. So I really like a good set of closed headphones so that I only hear, like this is actually a pretty quiet recording. I'm not hearing anything from your side, and it's pretty quiet over here.
Neat.
So it's my 271s. I love them. Anyway,
Should I get a pair?
I wouldn't gear out, like if your system, if you
It's
like it and you're
working.
comfortable, go with that,
Yeah.
especially because you're going to go do some that matter, for political purposes. Like you want to nail those. You don't want to, like, I would say, drop it. You don't want to drop that on the floor because it's a rare chance to capture something important. And the
Mm-hmm.
worst is if you're trying to do 5 candidates and you drop one of them, you're like, oh, what do I do now? And like, you got to do it over. So I
Right.
would stick with the gear that you got, but I would just
Okay.
go out and do a
Practice.
test
Yeah,
run.
I will.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for interviewing me and having me on your show, Brian.
Anytime, Craig. No, this has been fun.
Yeah, I think this is a great place to stop. I try and stop at 20 minutes. So I will just say it was a pleasure. Thanks for taking the time, Brian.
Craig, peace out. Thank you very much. It's really great to see you. Nice to connect again.